Okay, spoiler alert. If you haven't watched this one and are intending to watch it, don't watch this review. Or if you've seen the film already or have no intention of seeing it, then in that case please keep listening. Right, neon-noir is the genre, grim and gritty. The protagonist, Julia, played by Ashley C. Williams, suffers a multiple rape by several men. She's drugged and gang raped, basically. So, brutalized, traumatized. She overhears a conversation in a rundown bar about therapy for rape victims. It's about taking the power back, empowering yourself in the real world. And by asking about this therapy, Julia comes into contact with Sadie. Sadie works for an unorthodox doctor played by Jack Noseworthy. Julia gives herself over to his methods. He tells her it can't be about personal revenge, it's about personal empowerment. But clearly, she's out for revenge. She starts out as this nervous, mousy character who briefly falls into what looks like a despair, a depression. But as Sadie begins to give her lessons, Julia's personality changes. Yeah. What lessons, you ask? Well, lessons in seduction of men of a certain type, if you will. Julia becomes cold and predatory, becomes a killer. But then she goes outside of the therapy against doctor's orders. She goes after her rapists. She drugs and castrates a couple of them and cuts one of their eyes out. Yeah. Castration is one theme of this film. There are some rather graphic, violent scenes for sure, and some intense stuff. When she's in the bath, Julia, washing off the blood after she's been raped early in the film, eventually she looks at the camera. She's not looking at the audience, she's looking at you specifically. You can't help but feel badly for Julia as the victim in her misery. But as she changes, loses her humanity, yeah, she becomes a loathsome creature in my view, devoid of warmth. The doctor warns her there will be severe consequences if she goes against his methods. He himself turns out to be a eunuch with a fetish for dead, castrated men, it seems. The Sadie character is interesting, intense yet composed, very streetwise, but she ends up falling in love with Julia, which turns out to be fatal, as it happens. Sadie works for the doctor, but after he gets hold of Julia and is about to inflict those severe consequences he spoke of, Sadie comes to save Julia. Julia ends up killing the doctor, decapitating him. Then she betrays Sadie, shooting and killing her. I think she becomes more callous and sadistic as the story progresses, Julia that is. I'm not familiar with anything else this actor has done, Ashley C. Williams. She has a presence. It's a dark and brooding performance. I'll tell you what this film lacked though. Humour. There are no laughs in this. I know the subject matter is heavy, grim, noir, whatever you want to call it, but some humour could have been injected into this. Yeah. So that was a strike against it for me. Also, I feel like they could have fleshed out the Doctor and Sadie's characters, you know, and give some backstory to this so-called therapy and the shadowy group of castrating killers. But, you know, I guess the viewer is left to use their imagination. I like the way this film was shot. I really like it. Moody and lingering scenes. Some might class this as a horror or a thriller, but I don't know about that. I found it neither thrilling nor horrifying. It's a trip though. Matthew A. Brown directed, never heard of him, not familiar with any of his other work. Might this film, this story, serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of putting yourself in certain situations with strangers where you are most definitely vulnerable? Or is it a cautionary tale about the dangers of falling in love with the wrong person? A very wrong person. The power of a beautiful, sexually confident woman cannot be denied. The sexual power women have over men is explored here. Yeah. Vengeance isn't a difficult thing to understand. It's ugly. It's not justice. It's a destroyer of people. Is revenge. Eating those who get caught up in its cycles. Yeah. There are several things which leave a bad taste in the mouth in this film. It's not for children or the faint of heart. I personally found the ending to be unsatisfying because I wanted the story to take at least one more twist or turn. Yeah. This is a decent work, a work of art. It held my attention from first scene to the last. It felt like a visual feast, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Could have used some dark humour though. You know, humour doesn't have to be light-hearted. But that being said, overall, decent film. Good acting, moody atmosphere, artistically shot and put together. If neon-noir is your thing, check it out, yeah. That being said, I'll see you later, folks. Take care of yourselves.